Verlede jaar het die president gewaarsku dat die emosies oor grond nie op 'n onverantwoordelike wyse opgejaag moet word nie. Ek stem absoluut saam. Maar dit geld, meneer, vir almal. ANC-lede het nie alleen reg om emosies oor grond op te jaag nie. Ons het net soveel emosies oor grond aan oppositiekant. As 'n ANC-voorsitter sê, niemand het uit Europa hier aangekom met grond op 'n skip nie. Heropen 'n ongelukkige debat oor wie was eerst in Suid-Afrika en wie het wie se grond gesteel, wat 'n nutlose debat. Daardeur sweep by emosies op. Nou word dit 'n debat van datums. Wanneer het wie in Suid-Afrika aangekom? Gaan ons terug tot by die cradle of mankind, toe ons almal blykbaar hier was? Gaan ons terug tot by die Khoi en die San mense, wat voor die Wittes en die Nguni en Sotho-sprekers hier was? Die logiese vraag is dan, watter grond het die Nguni en Sotho-sprekers saamgebring, toe hulle vanaf die Kongo dan nou oor die Limpopo rivier Suid-Afrika ingekom het? Of het hulle dan nou weer die grond by die Khoi en die San gesteel? Meneer, hierdie tipe debat bring ons niks nader aan oplossings nie. Die enigste manier om die grondkwessie op te los, is om met koue feite na voedselsekerheid te kyk, na verstedelikingspatrone te kyk, na die huidige grondpersone te kyk, ook die kommunale gebiede, en dan met wen-wen oplossings te kom. Sir, as little as the ANC likes Mr. Thatcher, I think you need some of a labor union reforms. Is the President prepared for new thinking on labor and economic policy directions to resolve the economic crisis? And is the ANC capable of less emotions and more factual debates to resolve the difficult land problems? If the answer is no, the economic slide is inevitable. If the answer is yes, surely say there's hope for all of us, and you'll get the cooperation of all of us to make South Africa a better country for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank the Honourable Speaker.
Good afternoon, voter. Thank you for coming in. For the Freedom Front Plus, what's the biggest concern for South African youth in 2013?
Well, thank you very much and good afternoon. I think the youth is facing immense crises, and if you look at youth unemployment, if you look at the basic education system and the whole education system, which is collapsing, then a repetition of 1976 is quite possible. And the youth is again being, power is being abused, and I think the youth can again come in an uprising against this power abuse and against what is currently happening with youth unemployment, with the basic education system, with marginalization and so forth.
But so what can be done to ensure that more job opportunities for matriculants and university students are created?
Well, I think government is not doing what they should do. They have organs like the National Youth Development Agency, and they have departments which is there to promote youth development and create employment opportunities and create the environment for employment opportunities to be there for the youth. But at the end of the day, they are wasting money. If you looked at the youth festival that the NYDA hosted, it was 100 million rand that was spent on that youth festival. An organ that should be creating job opportunities are wasting money on festivals. Even yesterday's Youth Day festivals that the national government hosted cost millions of rands, money that could have been spent much better in creating opportunities and employment opportunities for the youth.
Is the Freedom Front Plus in favour of the youth wage subsidy, voter?
We are, with certain guidelines. At the end of the day, youth wage subsidy won't solve the situation completely, but it will be better than what we have currently. What the government is now trying to do with a job seekers subsidy, if you look at the amount of days which it takes for an average person to look for a job, you look at something like 825 days per job seeker. Now, if you go and look at it, the active job seekers in South Africa currently, it will get to an enormous amount, which is not viable or sustainable. And thus, that type of subsidy won't work. A youth wage subsidy with certain emphasis that you don't unemploy older people, but that you keep the balance, is definitely a solution that is better than our current situation.
But what does the Freedom Front Plus, how do you feel about youth development in the country? Are we doing enough to keep our youth, heads above water?
I don't think we are. I think the ANC is abusing its power and is only trying to do electioneering using the youth and not going further and really developing the youth and trying to create a situation where there's social cohesion amongst youth and where there's also a feeling that we have a future in South Africa. A lot of youth leave South Africa, a lot of youth is unemployed, as we said, and that is a situation which is not sustainable for development. I don't think government does enough for youth development, but I also think we ourselves are also to blame as communities, should also take responsibility and should also take responsibility for schooling and do what a social responsibility task so that both of those spheres are involved. But government is definitely not doing what they should do with regards to youth development.
Moses Wessels, thank you for coming in today. He is from the Freedom Front Plus. He is the youth leader of the Freedom Front Plus. Still to
Die adjunkminister van landbou, Pieter Mulder, meen daar sal ook dringend alternatiewe gevind moet word vir onproduktiewe grondhervorming en persepsies dat grondbesit gelykstaande aan rykdom is, moet verander.
Die regering het sy mense groot gemaak met propaganda wat sê, julle het arm geword omdat mense julle grond gevat het in koloniale tydperk. Nou word die simplistiese afleiding gemaak, as jy jou grond terugkry, dan is jy skielik weer ryk. Dis 'n totale mite wat nie waar is nie, inteendeel. Dit gaan meer mense bankrot maak as jy aangaan op hierdie manier, waar 9 uit 10 van die plase wat oorgedra is uiteindelik misluk het.
Die ad hoc groep sê dis duidelik dat alle rolspelers hulle pogings sal moet konsolideer om 'n situasie soos die in byvoorbeeld Zimbabwe te voorkom.
Front Plus het vandag die regering daarvan beskuldig dat hy die nuwe wetsontwerp op die lisensiering van sakeondernemings of sogenaamde smouswet gaan gebruik om die tentakels van die inkomstediens te verleng. Die party sê die regering stel meer belang in die insamel van belasting as die skep van 'n vrye omgewing vir entrepreneurs soos informele handelaars. Die VF+ se Anton Albert sê na aanleiding van 'n geskrewe parlementêre vraag aan die minister van Handel en Nywerheid, die maatreël kom daarop neer dat plaaslike regerings die rol van belastingagente vir die inkomstediens sal moet vervul. Hy meen die wet kan ook 'n teelaarde skep vir korrupsie, afpersing en omkopery in die kleinhandelsektor weens die magte en bevoegdhede wat dit aan inspekteurs en lisensieowerhede gee. Die minister, Rob Davies, het in sy antwoord gesê die besonderhede van maatskappye en individue wat ingevolge die voorgestelde wet registreer, sal beskikbaar wees vir ander staatsinstellings, insluitende die inkomstediens.